Hi, welcome back to Cotton Creations. So today I am bringing you another vegan holiday meal option. As you know, at the end of the year, there's several holidays where we get together with our friends and family and we feast. So I wanted to make sure you guys had several options for your holidays. So if you're interested in this video, please stay tuned. But before we hop into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on the next awesome video. Let's jump into it. All right, so what I have in store for you guys today is my infamous impossible meatloaf. Now, if you haven't seen that video or you don't believe me on how good it is, head on over to the video, check it out, and head to the comment section because there are hundreds and hundreds of comments of people talking about what they feel and what they think of this recipe after they've tried it. So if you don't trust me, head on over to the video and I'll link it up above so you can take a look. All right, so yeah, I'm gonna do my impossible meatloaf. I'm gonna pair that with some red skin garlic mashed potatoes, and I'm gonna have a side of maple bacon Brussels sprouts. That's right, you heard it right. And of course, you know how to get in my Cotton Creations cornbread, okay? But instead of just doing the traditional cornbread, I am going to do my friend Brooklyn's cornbread stuffing recipe, and I'm gonna add a little something to it, okay? And she actually does it with my cornbread, with the Cotton Creations cornbread. So I'm gonna do it with the Cotton Creations cornbread. I mean, why wouldn't I? I'm Cotton and I create, okay? So anywho, enough talking. Let's go ahead and jump into what ingredients you'll need for today's recipes because they are lit. How could I forget about dessert? Okay, so I'm gonna whip up my amazingly sweet, yummy peach cobbler.
So we're going to start out with making our cornbread stuffing. As you know, we're going to use Cotton Creations cornbread mix, some fresh sage, some fresh thyme, celery, onion, Beyond Breakfast sausage patties. Don't get nervous by it saying spicy. It's not that spicy. Some minced garlic, vegetable broth, extra virgin olive oil, some black pepper, poultry seasoning, garlic powder, and some pink Himalayan sea salt. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is just chop up my celery and my onions, and I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. I'm just going to go ahead and start to saute those so that they can get a little tender. Of course, you need a fresh pan of Cotton Creations cornbread, and what I did here is I baked it and then I put it in the refrigerator to chill. So if you don't have time to make it in advance, you can make it the day of, but you will need a few hours for it to chill in the refrigerator. And all I'm doing here is just cutting it up so it's in nice cubes. You can do it small cubes, large cubes, whatever size cubes you prefer for your cornbread stuffing. And so yeah, and then you just want to break it apart. Next, I'm just going to add in the minced garlic, black pepper, and salt and garlic powder. And we're just going to cook this for a couple of minutes just until the garlic is fragrant. Now it's time to add in the poultry season along with our fresh herbs, so the sage, the thyme, and the poultry season. And then we're just going to mix that all together on low heat and let that cook for just like a minute. And then we're going to go ahead and take that off the heat and set it to the side. So for the Beyond Breakfast sausage patties, what you want to do is cook them as instructed on the box. And then once those are done, what we're going to do is take those off, let them cool just a little, and cut them. Just be careful if you're cutting them right away because they are very hot when they come fresh out the pan. But yeah, I just cut them into small little cubes. Now we're ready to combine both our sauteed veggies as well as our sausage to our cornbread. So let's go ahead and just mix that all together until it's blended nice and evenly. And this is what you should be looking like at this step. Yummy. So next, what you want to do, if you haven't already done so, is go ahead and warm up your vegetable broth, and we're just going to pour our warm broth over top of our cornbread, and the cornbread is going to soak up your broth. Of course, you want to make sure you don't over dredge it with the liquid. So I always recommend when you're pouring in the liquid for dressing or stuffing that you just do it, in smaller quantities, mix and keep adding, just to make sure that you don't over saturate it with the liquid. And now it's time for the oven. So you want to pop it in the oven and let it cook with it covered with the foil on it. And then what you want to do is remove the foil and let it cook for another like 20 minutes or so, 15-20 minutes, and it should start to brown on top. All right, so now that the stuffing is browning, let's go ahead and move on into these mashed potatoes. So I'm using red skin potatoes today. You need some butter, sour cream, milk, garlic powder, salt, and black pepper. And I forgot to pick up my chives, but I always usually put chives in my mashed potatoes. It just takes it up another notch, some fresh chives. So make sure you pick those up and don't be like me. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and boil our potatoes in some salt water until they are fork tender. Then once they are done boiling, we're going to go ahead and take a potato masher and just mash up our potatoes with that. And then what we're going to do is add in the butter and some salt, pepper, garlic powder, and we're going to mix that all together. And then after that, we're going to add in the sour cream and the milk. Now, if you're the type of person that likes sour cream, you might want to add 2 dollops of the sour cream. If you don't necessarily care for the sour cream flavor, then just do 1. Now, depending on how creamy you want your mashed potatoes will depend on how much milk that you add. So, it's all a matter of preference at this point. But don't they look good? Moving right along, let's get into these maple bacon Brussels sprouts. So you'll need some olive oil, Brussels sprouts, maple syrup, some bacon. I'm going to use Sweet Earth benevolent bacon, some black pepper, garlic powder, and salt. All you want to do is chop up your bacon. I like to do mine in really small pieces. I know others may like them bigger. So whatever size you prefer, do them like that. Put a little bit of olive oil in the pan and let's go ahead and crisp these up. Once they're done, you're going to set them to the side, add a little bit more olive oil to the pan, and then we're going to char our Brussels sprouts. Now, depending on your preference, how much char you want. You can go light char or you can go heavy char. I tend to like mine a little heavier on the char for this dish, but again, all a matter of preference, so whichever way you like it. So this is what I consider light char. So if this is your preference, you can move on to the next step. But if not, and you're like me and you need it a little darker, go on and flip these bad boys back over. Put a little bit more oil in your pan and let them continue to cook. So now that the char is right, we're going to go ahead and add in some vegetable broth. And if you don't have enough broth, you can also add a little water to it. Or if you don't have broth at all, you can do water. And then we're also going to season these up with our salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Once these are tender, we're going to go ahead and cut our heat down to low. And we're going to go ahead and toss in our bacon. And we're going to drizzle that maple syrup all over and just mix it all together. And just let it stay on the low heat for a couple of minutes and then it's done. All right, next up is dessert. So for the peach cobbler, you're gonna need fresh peaches or frozen peaches, some fresh lemon juice or bottled lemon juice, some cornstarch, some brown sugar, some regular white granulated sugar, some nutmeg, vanilla extract, and some ground cinnamon. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and toss your peaches into your pan, and then we're going to go ahead and add in our sugar, cinnamon, cornstarch, vanilla extract, nutmeg, and we're going to go ahead and mix all that together. And you'll start to see like the peaches will start to create their own juice from the sugars, and then they'll do even more so creating the syrup once they're in the oven. And your peaches should look something like this at this point, and now we can go ahead and put the foil over them and put them in the oven. While those are in the oven, we're going to go ahead and start whipping up our dough for the top. So you need some hot boiling water, some flour, some butter, some baking powder, cinnamon, brown sugar, regular white sugar, and some salt. All right, so once all of that is in your bowl, you can go ahead and combine it together. Now you can use your hand like I'm doing, or you can use a pastry cutter. Now, if you've been following me for a little while, you know I don't have all the appliances or all the tools, and you know I just work with what I got. And right now what I have is my hands and a spoon. So this works just fine, if not better in my opinion, for real, for real. So yeah, just mix it up with your hand like so, and then we'll move on to the next step of adding in the water. Once your boiling water is in, you can take a spoon and go ahead and mix it together because it does become more of a wet dough. So I wouldn't suggest doing this with your hand. And so let me show you what it looks like. This is the consistency that you want. Okay. Let's grab those peaches out the oven, and look, voila, we got nice syrup going over the peaches. And now all we're gonna do is take our dough and just place it in different spots over top of the peaches. And then what I like to do is just take my hand or the back of the spoon and gently spread it out, just so that you cover as much of the peaches as you possibly can. Next, we're going to take some cinnamon and sugar, combine it together, and then we're just going to sprinkle that all over top of our dough, and then we're going to pop it in the oven. And I like to cook it uncovered to start off, but if it starts to brown a little too fast, then I go ahead and lay a piece of foil lightly over top just to keep the crust from browning too much. And this is what it's looking like. I was gonna wait, but I'll show you guys right now what it looks like when you cut into it. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It looks amazing, and it's vegan. Oh, and the drizzle. If your mouth is not watering right now, something is seriously wrong with you. Look at that. Okay, let's focus and get back to the real food because we haven't even finished with dinner. So I'll do a quick recap of my impossible meatloaf recipe. So you'll need impossible burger, just egg, Worcestershire sauce, yellow mustard, ketchup, onion, breadcrumbs, milk, and of course all the seasonings, Italian seasonings, seasoning salt or seasoning all, ground sage, garlic powder, and black pepper. And for the ketchup glaze, you'll need ketchup, apple cider vinegar, mustard or ground mustard, and brown sugar. So if you haven't seen my impossible meatloaf video, then let me explain. It's pretty much a dump all and then you just work it all together with your hands. Now it is kind of messy, so I always wear a glove when I do it, but to each his own. Do it how you want to do it, but this works out best to get the best results. So just dump everything in there and then just work it in. Now we're going to go ahead and transfer it to our pan. You want to spray it with some cooking spray, and then you want to go ahead and transfer over to your pan and start to form a loaf shape with it. So we're going to go ahead and cover this with foil and go ahead and put it into the oven to bake. Now we're going to take it out of the oven and we're going to go ahead and put our ketchup glaze on top. Now the ketchup glaze is the same thing. You take all the ingredients, put them in a bowl, mix them together, and then you can go ahead and spread them all over your meatloaf. And make sure you get those sides too. You want to put this ketchup glaze all over the meatloaf in its entirety. The only part of it that doesn't get it is the bottom, but sides, top, everything. And you can be as generous as you want. A lot of people love this ketchup glaze, my ketchup glaze, so I tend to go heavier on it. But if you're not a fan, I guess, of a ketchup glaze, and go lighter, but yeah. This is what you should be looking like, and we're gonna pop this in the oven to cook for about another 10 minutes uncovered, and then it'll be done. All right, so dinner is ready to be served. So let's take a look at everything. So we got our maple bacon Brussels sprouts looking really good. We got our Cotton Creations cornbread stuffing with Beyond sausage. We got our garlicky redskin mashed potatoes. We got our impossible meatloaf. And of course, for dessert, we got our peach cobbler. So another great vegan holiday meal option for you guys.
All right, so the food is done and you already know I'm hungry. So let's go ahead and get into eating it. Let me show y'all. Let me give you a little preview. So we got our, let me not drop the plate. We got our meatloaf. We got the cornbread stuffing. We got the maple bacon Brussels sprouts. Yes. And we got us our redskin garlic mashed potatoes. Come on now. I wish y'all was here so you could you know, partake. But you know, I got the recipes in the description box so you can make it. So let's get into it. Y'all see? Now, y'all can't tell me that don't look like. Y'all can't tell me that don't look like real beef. You want something that's gonna fake people out? That right there, they'll never know that's not beef. I promise. I promise you. These go up too. I like to do different things with my vegetables, because you know that's mainly what I eat. So I like to try different things and mix it up every now and then. So I have several different Brussels sprout recipes, but I wanted to bless y'all with this one today. The contrast of that sweet with the savory, amazing. Amazing. Now I'm gonna put a disclosure out there. I don't normally like stuffing, because y'all have heard me say this before on some of my other videos. I don't like soggy things, and to me, stuffing is soggy because the original form of it, whether it be bread or cornbread, the original form of it is modified with liquid, like more liquids added to it, and it makes it soggy and changes the texture. So I'm not a fan of like dressing or stuffing, but when Brooklyn made this, I had to try some, and I was actually like, oh my god, I think I could eat this. So I really like her recipe. Oh my god. With the sausage, it tastes like something for breakfast, honestly. I could totally eat this for breakfast, like by itself. If you're a what's it called? If you're a coffee drinker, this would pair well with your morning cup of coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but it would pair well with my hot tea, because that's what I drink. But this is amazing. Brooklyn really did her thing on this recipe. Y'all need to get into it. Get into this plate. Everything's so good. Don't believe me? Go check out the comments on the other videos. Check out the comments for the meal. It's hundreds of them. So anyway, I'm gonna go sit down, eat properly, and I'll be back when it's time for dessert. All right? See y'all. All right, somebody said it's time for dessert. Okay, y'all get into the peach cobbler. I just made that up. Anyway, for me, I like a good amount of crust to the fruit ratio. So if you ain't into that, I'll have to do a different version for you. I got another one for y'all that don't get down on the ooh. It is about to go down. That is amazing. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Amazing. Get into it. Get all the way into it. Okay? Get into it. Amazing. Lord, I got grease all on my mouth. Anyway, so if y'all want to see more videos like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out when I post. If you like this video, you know what to do. Give me a thumbs up. And let me know what you guys think of the video down in the comments section down below. And I'll make sure to put those recipes in the description box so you can print them out or download them. And happy holidays. And thanks for watching.